How are you doing? Nowadays, feminists in a society that gets into alignment with the thoughts of feminists boost the increase of women's participation in the workforce to demand gender equality on employment in the world. So, women's proactive participation in the workplace is not an old story, but in the Western culture, independent women had already joined a male-dominated society proactively far long before women's social right was widely demanded by feminists in the society historically. So this is a really natural trend that people try to organize social system to welcome women to a place where they can take active part in a certain field to enhance women's social status in a society. So I have a couple opinions about this movement. So the first one is like necessity of extreme appeal of women's empowerment or women's social advancement. So is it really necessary for feminists to appeal to a society for women's empowerment? You know, I have a question about if entire women in the world really want to proactively participate in social activities and establish social status that is not far behind the man. So I don't mean to agitate gender discrimination here, and I don't mean to agitate the problem of misogyny here, but I mean if there were women who want to take active part in a certain field independently, that would be really really great for the world. And I think a society or a community should absolutely organize a social system that enables women to work more easily in a society. So, but I think it is not necessary to back up women's empowerment or social advancement in a society with every possible help beyond necessity. So, because even if women take up a career in a society with the great support of government and the community, there is no guarantee that a woman can survive in a harsh competitive society because their empowerment is already premised on external support for their social advancement in the first place. So extreme support brings dependence in their mind. And this dependence that expects external support makes them abandon independence from their minds before they know it. And this dependence will absolutely get in the way of achieving something in the society and causing trouble in the society. So the way of thinking that you're going to have to win something at your own risk and at your own discretion is a must to survive in a society. So everyone surviving in a harsh competitive society, he takes a risk about it. And they don't get, they don't even get overprotective support from anyone and anywhere for their social treatment, regardless of what gender they are. So reaching out to women, even in the territory where they must take care of it by themselves, doesn't increase the number of women who are demanded by society, don't you think? So that's why I feel really skeptical about the movements of feminists that they try to boost the woman's empowerment in the society. So secondly, the difference of gender role between men and women from the biological viewpoint. So managing domestic affairs and taking care of children and supporting husband are traditionally seen as a woman's role. So I don't think that a society has ever put pressure on women to force them to play a role for these activities historically. So I believe it's like women who got to know a gender role in an instinctive manner naturally has done these activities to fulfill their responsibility for their gender role since ancient times. So of course there are exceptions. There must be exceptions about this. But having said that, women significantly take active part in various fields. Basically, as an overall trend, women organize their social life in accordance with instinctive gender role programmed in their brain. So of course, the percentage of women's social, advancement and empowerment depends on which country they belong to some extent. But it seems to me, the tendency hasn't changed. This tendency hasn't changed largely now in the past worldwide. So in Japan, there's still a certain number of women who intend to abandon their, business career after the marriage in order to devote themselves to domestic affairs and child care. So there are a few women who practically work for a male-dominated company and have strong ambition to win a certain position in the company, which is not far behind a man. So furthermore, no matter how carefully the government fixed them up with a policy of women's empowerment, their sense of purpose towards promotion and success is very, very weak in the Japanese society. So the degree of Japanese women's social advancement falls behind that in other advanced countries in the world. So I think there is, I assume that there is a background that Japanese women have strong subconscious, awareness that they have to keep a house as a woman's role, and instead women have to be protected by men. So women have to be weak, and women should not be independent from a society behind this kind of social trends in Japan. So this tendency can be seen in Japanese marriage market. So Japanese women who want to get married to someone try to find a man with a quite good salary. That is far better than the average. This is because Japanese women strongly expect the segregation of gender's role in the marriage life in most cases in the Japanese society. So men have to earn as much money as possible to support living, and women have to keep a house and take care of children and take care of children's education. So this is a quite orthodox gender role segregation concept that can be seen in wild animal as well. So to resist instinctive activity as biological gender's role that is programmed in their brain on a genetic level, women have to have really huge willpower to change it and survive in a harsh competitive society, and they need to have a huge willpower to be prepared to survive in this harsh competitive society. So in terms of this point, Western women have a really strong willpower to come up in the world independently. So conclusively, I don't think society and the community don't really need to boost women's empowerment and social advancement, because there is an aspect that a society preserves equilibrium between men and women through biological gender's role. So it is, if this equilibrium collapses, I believe this will influence the dynamics of population. That is one of the most important economic indicators that tells us the power of the country. And on personal level, if this equilibrium collapses, this may trigger a domestic discord in the house and misery of family separation. So I think women's empowerment and that women's social advancement policy that support every single woman uniformly in the country by the government is really, really stupid. So I think it's better to just organize social system for just independent, motivated women to be able to work easily in a society. So I don't think we dare to appeal to a society for the necessity of women's social advancement or empowerment and provide great support for them. So because most of them don't really hope for this, it is obvious. So there is an interesting statement from Sweden that is, Sweden is known as one of the most progressive women's empowerment and the women's social advancement country in the world. In 1998, a university student asked a 100-year-old man about what was the most significant change in his life. And the student predicted his answer like World War II, and nuclear power plants, and television, and a cell phone, and PC, or space satellite. But this old man answered to his question like that was family separation because of the policy of women's empowerment in this country.